Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Lost Boyz Podcast, episode 29. I'm Gianni.
Brandon.
Welcome. If you're new to the channel, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn post notifications on. We post every Thursday at 12. All that good stuff. And yeah, socials are down below in the description, so make sure to check that out as well.
In case you guys haven't seen it from the last episode, in the description as well is a link to a Google form that is anonymous for you to suggest any topic you would like us to talk about, whether if you want to hear our opinions on it, if you want to hear us debate about it, doesn't matter. It is anonymous, so don't worry. We won't know that it's you.
That is a fact.
You little suspect motherfuckers. Yeah, nah.
But yeah, that's a fact. Today's topic we actually got from that Google form. Don't know who submitted it, but if you did submit it, thank you. And so the topic is, well, what we're going to cover is men's mental health and why men decide to suffer in silence. The Google form question included women's mental health in there as well. But I mean, we're two guys. I don't know how much we can really talk on women's mental health, just because I don't have the knowledge of a woman and her mental health, and I don't know what women go through. I know what men go through. I don't know what women go through, per se. I guess like we all kind of have an idea to an extent, but we don't really know. Like I feel like women view men as like, oh, they got it easy, and men view women as, oh, they got it easy. Yeah. So it's like we'll just talk from our perspective for now.
Maybe if you guys are interested, potentially bring a woman on. Have her give her side, we give our side, go back and forth.
Yeah, comment down below if you're interested. And yeah, definitely reach out and let us know if you'd be interested in talking about it on the podcast. With that being said, men's mental health. What comes to mind when you think of men's mental health?
I think of men's mental health. This is going to be rough to say, but I think of like society being too soft, truthfully. I think there's a lot that goes on in society that we just take too serious, right? And granted, everybody goes through everything differently, right? I'm just some guy talking to a camera, right? But I think there's a lot of things that have become so normalized to stress over that create unnecessary things to stress about in life. Like there was a statistic done or like a study done, and it was comparing like mental health at the end of World War II or World War I versus mental health. Nah, it wasn't a comparison, but it was just mental health back then. And it was like how, even though, it was in Poland after World War II, and how even though their country just got raided and destroyed, right? They were a pretty happy country. Versus now where it's like any little thing that happens, everybody's on strike for everything, and nobody can focus on anything. So it's like, I wonder in 80 years, what has changed so much in mental health?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I agree to an extent. I agree that yes, a lot of people do stress over things that should not be stressed over. They over exaggerate a lot of things, especially now today's time with society, with social media and all this other stuff. I do agree. However, I do think there is, at least for men, a certain extent of mental health that there is some reason for it, but I think all of it stems from the person themselves.
Agreed.
I think a lot of it stems from the person feeling incompetent about themselves. And so this is why I agree and kind of see another side to it. So I agree that yes, like there are certain things you may see on social media that really are not that big of a deal, that maybe a man might stress over, like, oh, like I don't got the flyest outfit or whatever. I don't have the flyest this. I don't have the nicest this, nicest that. But at the same time, like there's other things where the man is 100% in control of all of that. So it's kind of tricky. Like I'm trying to formulate my thoughts as I'm saying it, but basically what I'm trying to say is there's some reasons for mental health in men, right? There's reasons for mental health in general. But I think men, because we're guys and that's why we're talking about men.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'd speak on women, but I don't know. As far as men, I know as men, we have this level of competence and success that we feel we have to achieve and we need to achieve. And when we're not there, then it fucks with our head.
Agreed.
And that I can understand. However, letting the mental health prevent you from getting there, I do not understand. That's where I kind of fall off. And so that's where I say I agree, but also disagree. Because I agree we're also stopping ourselves from getting there. But I also think that sometimes as a man, because we're so silenced, which we'll get into in a bit, it kind of also plays a factor into why we don't get there too. I don't know.
I get what you're saying.
I'm trying to formulate my thoughts as I'm saying it, but yeah, it's basically that. I can see both sides to it. I think more of it though is I agree with you. A lot of it comes from just the man themselves,
mm-hmm.
but there are some factors for sure.
Yeah, what I like that you brought up is that this level that I should be competent, I should be this or anything like that. There's a certain societal pressure as a growing man where you should have X, Y, and Z by a certain point, or you should be X, Y, and Z by a certain point. And when you don't have that, you're, as much as people want to say you're not, you're kind of seen as less, right?
100%.
And I think knowing that, on top of the fact that every human being is their own worst critic, we as men tend to get deeper into our heads, and we can't show that we're struggling with that because it's like, well, you're supposed to have that. So a lot of guys will turn into acting like they have that.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I would say a lot of people like our age try to look like they're rich, right? On top of that, too, nobody wants to be the left out person in society. Like the person like, oh, damn, like so-and-so didn't make it, or so-and-so is struggling, or so-and-so X, Y, and Z. Everybody, I feel like there's just this little voice where we try to be as perfect as we can. And when we don't achieve perfection, we have this that voice that beats down on us, that creates a toxic circle because then you can't show that you feel that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I agree with that. And I think why we don't show it, and I guess it kind of goes into the silence part a little earlier, but I think the biggest reason why a man keeps silent about what he's going through is because truthfully, no one gives a fuck about what the man is going through.
It's true.
No one gives a fuck unless that's your boy, or like your brother or someone really close to you. No one gives a fuck what you're going through. You know what they're going to say? Man the fuck up. Get through it and do it. You think I'm not going through that too? Everyone's going through it. It's just some people are responding better than others. Some people are rising to the pressure and others are getting destroyed by the pressure. So people are choosing whether they're going to come out as a gem and a diamond, or if they're just going to let the pressure break them into pieces and let them rip it apart. And I think that's why men, generally speaking, are so silent, because truthfully, no one gives a fuck. And I wish we did have a woman here to kind of get her perspective, because in my mind, I know women will say, oh, but talk to me, it matters, this and that. But if a man really expressed everything that he was going through on a constant basis, I think it's only a matter of the time before the woman's going to be like, all right,
this man can't handle shit.
I'm going to go find someone else. Cause they start to look at you as less of a man, because why are you going through so many, why can't you figure out this, and that? You're the man. I know somebody's going to call me misogynistic for this, but the men are supposed to lead, is what we've always done throughout history, and we still do today in times. And no woman wants, or at least I would say the majority of women, I'm not going to say no women because there could be exceptions, but the majority of women do not want to be with somebody that they're in control of, they lead the relationship in. They want a man to be that person for her. And if they don't have the man for that, or if they feel their man isn't good enough for that, that's when they either cheat, they leave, they do all types of stuff, and rightfully so, because you also can't blame the woman. You should look for the best of what you can find. So,
There's a lot I can say on this. Two things I want to address. First is me losing my train of thought right now. So first thing I want to address is we as men are deductive problem solvers. We are the ones who see the issue, solve the issue, right? At least that's what we're supposed to be. Two, Jordan Peterson has gone off on this topic, right? So this new narrative of leading women, right, has created some issues for women. And he's a clinical psychiatrist, right, or psychologist. So the man knows what the fuck he's talking about. One of the things he said he found looking through studies and everything like that is that women who are typically more courageous and more leader-oriented tend to make more money, number one. But those women who tend to make more money and lead in more situations tend to have a smaller pool of partners and tend to settle for partners that don't make them happy. And this is why there is an extreme increase in depressed women. I think it's above the age. I think he broke it down as like 35 to 45, 45 to 55. And in each age group, the number goes higher and higher for women of like higher economic statuses. Because it's like, you're leading, which is totally good for you if that's what you want, right? But at a certain point, there are needs that you have, I would say biologically, that are not being met. For example, it's like, I don't remember the exact age he used. It was either 50 or 55, but like women of that age who have not had children tend to feel a sense of lacking in their life and tend to be more depressed.
yeah.
But these are also similar group of women who make more money and are higher on the socioeconomic status. So it's like, it's the trade-off. While you can take men who make the more money and don't have children, and at a certain level, it's like, yeah, it's our natural biology to like reproduce. But there's a lot of men who are just content with not having that and reaching the pinnacle of like success and status.
Yeah, I agree. And then you reminded me what I was gonna say before, because you asked like, well, you didn't ask, but you mentioned like, why is it that what happened in the last 80 years that all of a sudden like mental health has gone crazy? One, I think there's many reasons, which I'll get into in a bit, but I think the main reason why I think, at least for men, mental health is a thing, is very simple. Men want women, and they want the things they want for women. That's why they do the things they do. If a man can never work another day in his life and could just do whatever the fuck he wanted to all day, every day, and not have to go to a job or grind or do all these things, trust me, I think almost all men, let me continue. If he could do all that and get all the women in the world and get everything he wanted out of the world, 1,000% every man would fucking do that.
Yeah.
Every man would do that. The reason why men grind so hard at work is because they want to have a money to show a status, to show a level of success, so that they can attract the best woman possible for themselves.
It's true.
And whether you want to admit that or not, that is the fucking truth. Everything that men do in this world is to impress or for women. That's it. Simple as that. It's simple as that. Because if you take women out the equation, why are they gonna? No man is gonna see the need and going to work for Jimmy down the block for $13 an hour. Why is he gonna do that for? For that, he's gonna go in there, rob Jimmy, if anything, and take the money and then just chill. Or if not, he's not gonna do anything at all. But that's why, like, before, I know you want to say something real quick, but before you go, that's really what it comes down to. Like, think about like rap culture and like people in poor neighborhoods and why they rob and do the things. Yes, they need money. Yes, they're hungry. Yes, they want a better life. However, what's really causing all of that, the root of all that, like think about rappers who like rob other rappers and rob this, people who kill other people. They don't do it because they're like, well, this is life. I mean, maybe some do, but deep down inside, they're doing it because they're trying to portray themselves as that big tough guy, as the man. to express it onto the women.
It's true.
Like if the women don't exist, they don't do that. And I'm not throwing shade on women.
Yeah.
Because they're a big motivator for why men do the things we do and why society keeps elevating and getting better and better, because men always want to be the best man possible so they can have the biggest selection of women. And I think that's, and I don't think that's like a crazy, like, what the fuck are you saying? At least to me, like, I don't know, maybe it triggers somebody, but to me, it just makes sense. It's just common sense. It's like, if you really look at it, everything that's ever evolved in human history has all been because somebody wants to be the man.
Yeah.
They want to be that one person who's like, look what I did. And then got their reward for that was getting whatever woman they wanted in their life, having kids with them, and just spending their life with them like that. That's what it all really stems from.
I was going to say, what you said, it's also having the woman that they want, but having the choice of like the quantity of women that they want, like that abundance of women. And that's something that I remember last time we brought up, like animals in the wild, the one girl.
Yeah.
But it's true, because if we are animals, we can look at other animals for some inclination of correlation, let's say, right? And it's like, look at lions, right? There's one lead, like head honcho lion that impregnates like 7 different lionesses, right? And they all stay to that one lion. But then what happens? Another lion that's starving and everything like that sees it, and it's like, I'm gonna try that lion and take what he has. And let's say this hungry lion kills the other lion. Guess what? He now inherits the lioness, and now they are loyal to him. Now, I'm not saying, like women are this shallow or anything like that. But if you look at society, what I am trying to say here is that you can see a correlation between economic status. It's why women fantasize over Chris Brown as opposed to the quarterback on the football team, right? Which in the high school hierarchy, the quarterback on the football team is more attractive than the coder sitting in the library, right? It's all like a little hierarchy that goes on, but there's these things that play into attractiveness, and status is one of them. And you get that status by what you achieve. In today's day and age, it's financial success, fame, the 1 million followers versus the 150 followers, right? But back then it was how much food can you bring? Like if you killed somebody else, right? Like, and I'm talking like obviously like very animal nature. But at the end of the day, we've been civilized for what? Maybe a few thousand years. That doesn't erase like hundreds of thousands to millions of years of evolution, if that makes sense.
No, yeah, and I agree. And I also want to clarify too, like, I don't think women are bad for doing what they do, like for wanting the best man, for choosing the best man, and for like even the example you made of how the lioness goes to be loyal to that man instead because they just showed themselves to be the better man. I think that's the smartest thing a woman can do. Like, to me, that makes perfect sense why a woman would do that. Like, it's just reality. It's just what it is. I don't think women should be bashed for it. I think if I was a woman, I'd do the same exact shit too. Why do I want to be with the homeless man on the corner? What the fuck is he going to do for me in my life? You know? So like, I also want to clarify, like, we're not trying to bash women. We're not trying to make it seem that way. If it is coming off the way, I don't know if it is. But I think other reasons that play into men's mental health, if we want to take it more modern now, I think the women part, men wanting to be the man, to be the best man possible out of everyone. Deep down inside, every man has that, which rightfully so is a good thing to have because it drives you to succeed and do things in life. I think the main reason beyond the women part now, and we're taking it more modern, is social media. Yeah. Social media to me is huge as to why mental health is such a big deal now, whether people want to admit it or not. It is the case because you're taking, at least for men and maybe women too, you're taking 1% of the successful people in society and comparing yourself to them versus seeing the other 99%. And what that's doing is fucking with people's heads because they're seeing, a 20-year-old who has $100 million and thinking, I'm 24, why don't I have $100 million? And instead of using that as motivation to then build something and become something, they get depressed about it because then they realize they don't like where they are in life. But the problem is they don't do nothing to change where they are in life, right? Because I think the feeling of depression is real. However, I think it can only become real to you if you allow it to become real, right? Like you can feel depressed, sure. But once you clarify, sorry, I lost my train of thought. But once you start to, yeah, that's why I did the background noise. Once you start to identify yourself as being depressed, then you just made yourself so weak. Like that's, now you're just making excuses, right? Because everybody gets that feeling of depression. Everybody gets that feeling of deep sadness. Everybody has fucked up shit going on in their life. Everybody has this, everybody has that. Maybe I'm not the best advocate for men's mental health, but I think once you identify yourself as being depressed, that's when you fall deeper into depression. And the thing is, no man is going to go out and tell women or tell the world, yeah, I'm depressed and this and that, because everybody's going to look at them like they're weak.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. They are weak. You are weak if you are depressed. But it's about doing something to change being depressed. Because if you're depressed, is your body inherently telling you, I don't like where I'm at. I don't like where we're going. I do not like this at all. Do something different. And if you choose to not do something different and you think taking that medication or doing the same or smoking this weed or drinking this drink and all this is going to somehow magically one day you're going to wake up and boom, depression is gone. Fuck no. Yeah. You're either going to, one, talk to your boys about it. That's number one. You could either talk to your boys about it, people that you trust and that you know will give you their best advice from what they believe is their best because they truly want the best for you. Talk to them. But more than anything, you have to take action for yourself.
Agreed.
Right? Yes, talk. I'm not saying don't talk about it. Yes, talk about your mental health. Talk about what's going on. Just put it out there. But don't use how you feel as an excuse to then become incompetent in everything else. Like, don't use that as an excuse to not be competent in other aspects of your life. Don't use that as an excuse to tarnish relationships. Don't use that as an excuse to not become successful. Instead, use it as an excuse to fuel why you want to be that. It's like right now you're in the best situation possible, I would honestly say, because you're at the bottom of the bottom and there's only one way you could go from there, and that's up. And you have already made the realization this isn't it. So at least you know now, how can I get myself out of it and do better? And now you have at least a direction to go, and you know, okay, step one is let me just at least get out this situation. And then step two is, okay, let me figure out what the fuck I'm going to do from here. But you're at least trying to make a difference. And I think that's why men's mental health is such a big deal too. And then I'll get into a more, I guess, Alex Jones type of like idea. But I'll say that for in a bit. But yeah, I think that's ultimately like really what stems from it. Like, yes, everyone feels that feeling of depression. Everyone knows what that feeling of depression is. But to be depressed is different. To have that feeling of deep sadness and like today's raining and dark, and it's easy to be down and just think about where I'm at in life and just be like, damn, yeah, fuck. But I'm not going to use that as an excuse to not come and record this podcast. I'm not going to use that as an excuse to not try today. Yes, I feel it, but I can only become it if I believe it. And that's the point I'm trying to make. So if you are a man and you are struggling from mental health, yes, seek help. Talk to someone. It could be somebody you love, somebody you're super close to that you know isn't gonna just like give you a cold shoulder all of a sudden because like, oh, what the fuck, he's depressed. Yeah. Ugh. Like, no, if somebody does that, then that's not somebody you want in your life to begin with. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, talk to a therapist then. I'm not a big believer in the medication. I'm also not someone who's felt the need to do that. So maybe I'm not the best advocate for that. I don't know. I don't think the medication is necessary. I think you just need to talk about it. But most importantly, take action. If you're depressed right now and you're a man or a woman too, man or woman, I think this applies to. Not I think, it applies to. if you're depressed right now, your body is telling you, I'm not happy with where we are in life, with what we're doing in life, and with where we're going in life. Please do something different. And if you think by doing the same thing or by taking this medication, suddenly things are going to change and that you'll never experience depression again, you're sadly mistaken, and you're in for a very, very long, rude awakening that is going to haunt you for a very long time until you yourself decide, fuck that. I don't like this. My body's telling me it doesn't like this. It's telling me it needs a change. I'm going to give it that change. By any means necessary, I'm going to, 1, get out the situation, and then 2, do something different so I don't end up back in that situation, because I already experienced it. I already know what's going to happen in it. So let me avoid it now and let me keep going this way. And once you start doing that, you will quickly realize how much happier and how quickly things in your life will start to change, and how much your mindset will change. Because once your mind changes, everything will change. 100% guarantee that. But you have to stop letting depression be the excuse as to why you're not doing those things. And that's why a lot of people are okay with just popping the pill and just being like, oh yeah, well, I'm depressed. I suffer from depression. I suffer from anxiety. But what are you doing to stop it then? What are you doing to not be doing that anymore? Oh, I talk about it. Okay, good. Keep talking about it. Now, what are you doing action-wise to stop besides talking about it? Are you just talking about it and then doing the same thing every day? Because then you're not doing anything.
That's actually the definition of insanity.
Exactly. But if you're talking about it and actively trying to do something different, then good. Keep doing that. It may not be easy. It may not happen fast. It may not happen when you want it to happen. But if you could just keep your eye on that light at the end of the tunnel, bro, I'm telling you, you will get there. You have to take action, though. You have to be the person to decide, I'm going to change. Somebody cannot change it for you. The therapist is not going to tell you to change it for you. The therapist won't change it for you. The best thing the therapist would do is make you realize that you need to change it yourself, if they're a good therapist.
You also got to remember, too, this is something that is a little hot topic to say here, right? But it's America. Every single thing in America is a business, right?
100%.
So that therapist needs you to keep coming back. And I'm not shitting on therapists and saying, oh, never go to a therapist. No, go get your money's worth, get out of it what you can, and like truthfully try to go and vent and, seek help. But also, as much as you're seeking help, you have to be seeking that help within yourself too. And you do that by taking the action that you mentioned. I wanted to touch on something before, which you mentioned, is the second you start making an excuse for yourself, you're defeated. And that's a very hard rock to turn over once you mentally defeat yourself. We could have not recorded today. It's fucking cold over here. It's raining. It's dark, right?
We had issues before setting up.
It took us an extra hour or so because pieces weren't working out of nowhere. Lights burnt out, right? As we're sitting down getting ready to record, right? And obviously not everybody's us, right? But the key thing here, the common ground, despite any conversation, is just that, you know what? All right, this didn't work. Let me try again. Let me try something else. And you keep trying. If you look at that, this is a personal belief of mine. I believe, right, and we've touched on this on the podcast before, that the people that we see super happy are also the people that have experienced super sadness. They just kept trying to be happy. They just kept trying at it and trying at it and trying at it. I know some of the happiest people that I fucking know have experienced some of the wildest shit you can think of. That turns oh my God, the weather sucks, I don't feel like getting out of bed today, to fucking shame. But yeah, every day, go happy, go lucky. Just yo, how you doing? High energy.
Yeah.
And you get that by constantly trying to improve yourself. And you know what? Whatever happened or whatever I'm feeling, this is going to pass. This is in the moment. And I get it. In that specific moment, it's really hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I can't say I know how you feel, right? Because my mentality is just different when it comes to certain things. But I promise you that as long as you're not dead, you can fucking improve on yourself.
100%. 1,000%.
If you're watching this right now, man, woman, or anything in between, you can improve yourself. but you have to take the actions, and none of these actions are going to be fucking comfortable.
Nope.
None of them are going to feel good. Typically, they don't feel good until either A, they didn't work, then you feel good that you tried in the first place, or B, you miraculously hit it on the first try, and now, like, you know what? Journaling makes me feel really good. Yo, meditation, venting every day, or having, like, what works for me in the moments that I do need to, like, talk about certain things, because I'm a very, like, try to keep it in, right? But I've been making it more of a point to, like, make sure I talk to, like, the people that I trust to talk to, right? Like, the group, right? And it's because you need to find something that is like putting gas in a car, right? I know that every now and then, if I check in with you or Jeremy or Justin or Joe or anybody like that, right? That it's like, all right, you know what? I just checked in. You know, I'm good. All right, bam. Now I could keep the ball moving. Rather than, I think the current game plan, or let me not say game plan, the current narrative is to just bottle everything up. And then that's when we have these outbursts. That's when suddenly something that isn't that big, oh shit, McDonald's was out of fries, and now I'm suddenly outraged by that. That's not because McDonald's was out of fries. That's because I've been bottling so much shit up that this was the
cherry
straw
on top.
Yeah, the cherry on top, right? It's you need to talk about things. At least have build that support group. And it's not something you build overnight. Like, honestly, it's something you build by putting yourself out there and finding like-minded people who share the same mentality as you, or maybe you develop their mentality, right? Like, you don't have to be stuck in your ways. Like, at least for me, every now and then I see people who do things better than I do. And I'm like, oh, shit, I like that. You know, that makes sense, you know? Or, like, for example, from you, I see a lot of things that I'll be like, start to feel an emotion about, and you're so calm, and I'm like, yo, that's fucking dope, right? You gotta build on that. And then you observe the people you're around. So, like, I can say, just randomly got a hair on my wrist, but I can say, like, from you that I've learned, like, yo, you gotta take a step back in situations. For example, I used to be the high energy, like, just get angry right away. Now it's like, nah, take a deep breath, right? Let's figure that, like, this isn't that serious, right? And that comes from surrounding yourself with people who are similar to what you're trying to get to. Even though I didn't have to surround myself with you. I was fucking born with you.
No, but yeah, I 100% agree with everything you said too. And, you know, I think when you're depressed, it's because you lived too much in the past, which is pretty obvious, right? You're usually depressed about a trauma or something that happened prior, right? You're not depressed about something that hasn't happened yet. Mm-hmm. And when you're anxious, is because you're too focused on the future. So if you want to be at peace, you have to let go of the past. Stop trying to make the future right now, and instead just live in your present. Like, if you want peace in life, you have to live in the moment. Take it day by day. Say, okay, look, what happened, happened. There's nothing in this world that I can do ever to change what already happened. Mm-hmm. So by me dwelling on what happened is not going to get me anywhere, and it's not going to get me anywhere closer to where I want to be. By me hyper-focusing on the future, I overanalyze, I overdo this, I overdo that it drives me crazy. I get too anxious that then I get so stressed out and I don't know what to do. And then I have an existential crisis. Mm-hmm. That's not going to get me anywhere closer or anywhere near what it is I want to accomplish. Instead, focus on today. Ask yourself, okay, how can I be the best version of myself today? If you want, write it out. I recommend writing it out too. Okay, if I do this, this, and this, I would have seized the days. I would have won today. I would have squeezed all the juice out of today and won. Okay, I'm going to make it my priority to then do this, 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 and that. And when tomorrow comes, and when I wake up tomorrow, then I'll create my new list for tomorrow. I'm not going to create it tonight because then I'm planning too much for the future.
Yep.
I'm going to do it tomorrow. And when I'm saying this more on a micro level, right? Like little things, right? Because obviously you want to have a goal right? And that goal is ahead of time and when you want to accomplish that. But like I said in previous episodes, sure, you have this big goal you want, but just having this big goal and jumping for that big goal nonstop, it's going to be very hard to get there. Yes, you can get there, but if you learn to break it down from, okay, here's my big goal. Okay, here's what I need to do every month to get to that goal. Okay, here's what I need to do every week to get to that goal. Okay, here's what I need to do every single day to get to that goal. That's what's going to get you there, and also take the stress off of, damn, I need to be there like right now. Because once you have this and you have a plan of how to get there, and you can focus on something day by day, then you know every single day that you accomplish what you needed to accomplish to get there is going to make you 1% better, and you're going to feel 1% more competent, which is inherently going to lead to being more confident.
Mm-hmm.
And along the way, you're going to realize a spike in confidence, a spike in everything. And you're going to start to believe in yourself more and really think, yeah, I can do what I want to do. I can do anything I put my mind to do. The thing is, we think too macro, and then we also think way too far back in the past.
Yep.
No one thinks about right now. What about right now? Like, you need to do something now, today. What can you do today? You know, and living in the past, I get it. Well, I don't get it, but I can see how maybe certain things in the past that weren't addressed can fuck with you, and it can mess with your head. I see that. Well, then you need to face it right now and get fucking over it. Because no matter how you feel, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. You cannot go back.
Can't change it.
So no matter how you feel, is never going to change it. So stop fucking stressing over it. Stop killing yourself over it, literally. Just accept it, talk about it, get over it. It's not as easy as it sounds, I get it, but you at least have to try. Have a macro goal, break it down into micro goals, achieve the micro goals, and then eventually you will achieve that macro goal, versus just having the macro goal and then trying to chase that, where then you create anxiety. You create fear of, oh, I don't know what's going to come. Stop worrying about what's going to come. Whatever's going to come is going to come. There's nothing you can do about that either. There's things I shouldn't say nothing. There's limited things you can do about that too. But what's bound to happen is bound to happen. Just live in today and you will find more peace in your life. Achieve the goals you have set for yourself for today, not tomorrow, not next week, not in a year. No, today, the goals you have for today to accomplish. Achieve those goals today and you will find a change in your life. And if it doesn't work, then I don't know.
Try something else.
Then maybe I have the worst advice possible, but I find it very hard to believe that if you literally do everything you told yourself you were going to do day in, day out, that you will not get a spike in confidence because you feel more competent.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly you will stop being in this world of like, oh, like, damn, it's because of this, and this that happened that I'm like this today. And this, and that is why I'm not going to be that in the future. Like, no. Fuck that. Forget all that. Just live in today.
Exactly. One, that was bars, because it's so fucking true. But what you said is something that I've said 1,000 times on the podcast, and I just say in person in general. Find the lowest hanging fruit. What is the simplest thing you can do to get that much closer? If you're feeling like shit, you know what? Yeah, no bullshit. You know what I do when I'm just like in a fucking slump? I clean my room. Sometimes I rearrange my room, like, because I spend a lot of time in my room because I spend a lot of time at my desk. So when I'm like up there and I'm just like a mess, the first thing I do is, what's the lowest hanging fruit? All right, let me clean my room. You know what? I'm sick of looking at this. Let me rearrange my room, right? Just to feel something different. Like, at the end of the day, your environment plays a big fucking part in how you feel, right? So I'll clean my room to the best that I can, right? All right, now my room's clean, right? If it's at night, all right, let me go to sleep. You know why I go to sleep rather than trying to do the next thing? Because I'm going to wake up in a clean room. When you wake up and that room smells good, it's like, all right, what's the next thing, right? All right, you know what? Maybe I'm going to read today. Pick up a random fucking book, read 10 pages, doesn't matter, right? Or maybe I'm going to dedicate 30 minutes to just watch YouTube videos on a certain topic, right? Like, whatever it may be. just start doing these things. You know why? Because they might sound like, well, what the fuck does that have to do with my mental health? But guess what? You read those 10 pages. Let's say you picked the topic and you read 10 pages of I'll Teach You to Be Rich, and then you spent 30 minutes watching YouTube videos on saving money. Well, guess what? You're a little bit smarter on saving money. Guess what? You repeat this again. Now, the next day, you cleaned your room, you read 10 pages, you watched the YouTube videos, and on top of that, maybe you just went to the gym, or maybe you ate something a little cleaner that day. Maybe you just did something a little different. That's already small changes that you made. All you did was clean your room, and then you went to bed. You cleaned your room and read a book. The next day, you cleaned your room, you read a book, and you watched a YouTube video. The next day, you did all that, and then you ate. Instead of eating McDonald's, you ate fucking Whole Foods. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
Something clean. Already right there, even if nothing has changed inside of you, you've gotten more competent, because maybe slightly, but maybe you learned something while you were watching those videos, or something in those 10 pages like stuck out to you, right? And on top of that, your workspace is clean, your sleep space, your mental space is clean. And on top of that, there is a natural fucking feeling of feeling good when you eat something clean. And something a lot of people don't want to believe, the shit you eat dictates your mental health. If you eat McDonald's and Wendy's every day, that's low energy food. You will feel low in energy. Like,
yeah, my fault. Go finish.
I was going to say, you know how many nutrients you're probably lacking depending on how much your diet is dependent on fast food?
Yeah, that was the other topic I was going to bring up as to like why I think there's been such an incline in mental health is the food we eat. Our food has progressively I feel like has gotten worse and worse and worse. Granted, I wasn't alive in the 1920s, but I just have a feeling. I have this weird scratch that,
I have a hunch.
Yeah, I have this weird hunch that their food was a lot better than ours in terms of quality. Mm-hmm. And I think there's like many examples to bring up. And as far as speaking for men, right? One of our, and I mean, this is in women too, so I guess it applies to both, but men is more predominant. Testosterone levels, right?
Yeah.
A man's testosterone levels in the 1950s compared to now, it is drastically different. Like, it's not a secret. Like, science has proven it.
Yeah.
Like, no. And it's showing every single year it's going further and further and further and further down. And I think that's another reason why men have such big issues with mental health now, is because so many men suffer from low testosterone. And it may sound weird because you think testosterone is just a sex hormone. It's just, I just want to fuck. No. Mm-hmm. Testosterone is what drives men to do great things in life that they want to do. When you have low testosterone as a man, trust me, you do not want to do shit. You can sleep 15 hours and you will wake up exhausted. Does not matter how much rest you get. Does not matter anything that you do. You may still do it, but you will feel so tired and unmotivated and just, you would lack discipline because of it. And a lot of it comes from the food we eat. It comes from all the junk we have, all of these things. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast before, but the idea of breakfast didn't exist. Breakfast wasn't like a thing until like the 1950s. And not too many people know that. 1950s is less than 100 years. Like, that's relatively recent.
Some of your parents were born in the 1950s.
Yeah, like, breakfast is a relatively new concept, which is not really a concept. It was just a marketing campaign to sell more food because they make more money that way. And when you sell more food, you fuel them in the dick. So, look, in the 1950s, I believe it was the 1950s, if I'm not mistaken. I believe that's when cereal really started to become like a big thing. And that's when they really wanted to push cereal out. So what they did is they started this campaign. Breakfast is the most healthy, the most important meal of the day, because that's how you're starting your day. And they were trying to push that so they could sell more cereal, which was loaded with sugar and a bunch of other things, which is actually, in fact, the opposite. One, breakfast, not the most important meal of the day. Number two, loading yourself up with cereal and all these other bacon and eggs and all this other stuff, not good, not a good way to start your day. Horrendous to start your day. You're loading yourself up with a bunch of sugar and carbs. And that's why 2 p.m. comes around and you're crashing. And then what do you need now? Oh, now I need caffeine. I need coffee to keep me up. It's all a fucking money scheme. Think about it. The meat industry, they wanted to sell more meat. What did they push for breakfast? Bacon, ham. You have eggs as well. It's not meat, but eggs. All this stuff. Milk. Drink your milk. These are all things they push for money. What happens when you eat a loaded breakfast of fucking cereal with it's like 50 grams of sugar and like 50 grams of carbs? It is normal to get a sugar spike. And what happens? You fucking crash, and you crash hard. And then what happens? Oh my God, I'm so tired. Bro, it's only 11 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
I have to work till 5 p.m. All right, let me drink this coffee. It's going to help me. Okay, what happens? More money spent. Now the coffee industry goes up. Coffee makes money. Coffee spikes you up, gives you that energy you need. But then what happens? Your body gets used to it. So now you start crashing again. Oh, now I need more coffee and more caffeine and more caffeine. And now you have a whole fucking plot of just things in place for you to continue fueling addictions that they've created for you. And that inherently fucks with your head because you're putting all these unhealthy, sugary, loaded carbs, tons of terrible stuff into your body every single day. And so what happens is you get obese, and then you feel even more shitty about yourself. And then all these things all play into a role into one big picture of, holy shit, I'm fucking a piece of shit. I feel like shit. I feel unable to do things. I lack energy. I'm fat. I'm out of shape. I don't like this. I don't like that. And then you find every single flaw within you. But all you have to do is just eat better and work out. And there's other things you can, like, there's answers to it. But that was like my whole conspiracy thing that I brought up, the Alex Jones type thing, because I think it's real. Not that I believe it's real. And I don't know, to me, it makes sense. Like I look at it and I'm like, how does no one understand this? Like, it's just right in front of our face. Like, this is not a secret. Granted, I'm not saying you only have to eat one meal a day. You can eat 2 meals. You could do whatever you want. However, for me personally, I only eat twice a day. Don't get me wrong. I'm a human, right? So I mess up sometimes and I'll eat a bunch of junk and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I'm no perfect man myself. But having done the healthy way and the unhealthy way, I can definitely say there's a big difference in the two. And at least for me, I can feel the difference in the two. And
Agreed.
those foods also, at least in men and women too, actually, they fuck with your testosterone levels. And when a woman has a low sex drive and when a man has a low sex drive, neither of them want to do shit.
Facts.
And then when none of you want to do shit, you feel incompetent. You don't feel the ability to be able to accomplish things because you lack the energy or the drive to. And then that inherently plays into the role of mental health, along with other factors like social media and comparing yourself to these other people and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then you are where we are today.
A low testosterone ass society.
Yeah. We literally are. Science has proven it.
I was going to say, you want to know how, at least to me, this makes total sense. You want to know how I know the food we eat is not natural? Like, it's not good for our bodies in general? How long after a high sugar diet do you think it takes for your body to adjust to, let's say, a low sugar diet, or like it takes your sweetness palate to reset?
I think it's about 2 weeks, I would say.
It's a week to 2 weeks. A week to 2 weeks. It takes even longer to build the habit to eat clean than for your body to forget about what the other food tastes like.
Yeah.
Think about that. A week to 2 weeks of not eating this bullshit, and then you can acclimate to eating better.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But like that, for me at least, that just goes to tell you, like, yeah, our bodies are constantly trying to get away from this. Yeah. We just built the habit of eating it.
Yeah. So I actually heard something last night, and I thought it was very interesting. So somebody was saying, when you get hungry, you don't always have to eat. Just because you're hungry doesn't mean you have to eat. And he was saying sometimes we get that feeling of hunger, but we're not actually hungry. Like, you could drink a bottle of water and then all of a sudden you're not hungry no more. Sometimes we're just dehydrated. But more than anything, food is just an addiction. Yeah. It's not so much that we're hungry. It's just that we're addicted to food. So that feeling of hunger is our body saying, give me more. It's almost like a crackhead, like smoking crack, and then the feeling goes away, and then their body's going crazy before they're going to feel withdrawals or something, and they need it. So their body's going fucking crazy. But once they get past the crack addiction, that's it. They don't need it. That craving isn't the same anymore. I think. I'm not a crackhead, so I don't know.
Just look at fasting.
But yeah, exactly. Fasting is another example. I unintentionally intermittent fast. So I don't like eating breakfast. So I like to wake up. So I'll sleep 8 to 10 hours. So that's already 8 to 10 hours without eating. I like to wake up, start my day with working out. And then after like a workout and all that stuff. So I'll go like maybe 10 to 12 hours before I eat from the last time I ate. Actually, no, maybe more because I won't eat right before bed. Sometimes. I shouldn't, but sometimes I do. Let's say I don't eat an hour before bed. And then 2 hours after I wake up, I eat. That's like anywhere from like 10 to 15 hours that I go without eating. And then the rest of that period, I'll have 2 meals. I have 1 meal with 1 after my workout. And then like around 7, I prefer to have dinner. And that's it. I'm good. And I think that's another reason why people also suffer from mental health too, is because they eat too late. And from a fitness point of view, it's not so much, oh, my body doesn't know it's 11 p.m. and I'm eating. It's not that. The point is your circadian rhythm understands the relativity of time. Mm-hmm. So if your body, when you go to sleep, that's its time to repair itself, right? If you fall asleep every day at midnight and you wake up at 8 a.m., but you eat at 11 p.m., your body has a choice to make. It can either break down this food and leave and then get rid of it, or it can repair itself but then leave all the food in your stomach, which it's not going to do. It's going to break it down. So it's going to prioritize digesting this food before it prioritizes repairing your body. So if you're eating at 11 p.m., going to sleep at 12 a.m., you're going to wake up tired, fatigued, and sluggish and bloated and all this stuff because your body, it's in a point of rest where it's not actively trying to break down food. And then 2, you're going to wake up all beat up and tired and stuff because your body never gave itself the time to recover the things it needed to recover. And then you feel like shit. And then you eat more shit. Then you drink more coffee. And then you feel like more shit. Then you just skip the gym. So you feel even more like shit. And then all these things play a big role into it. So with that being said, that's why I think food is a really big cause of mental health for men and women. Low testosterone. I guess we said we were going to speak mainly for men, but I think for the most part, everything could be applied to women as well. Yeah. But low testosterone is another big cause of mental health in men. Feeling incompetent because of those things is a big cause of mental health in men and women. And what was the last thing we were talking about? I just blanked out. I had it in my head.
Food, actions, take actions.
Take actions, yeah. I mean, fitness, just overall feeling better about yourself, taking action. All these things are, social media. That's what it was. Social media is another reason why I think men and women suffer from mental health. And the difference is women are more vocal about it because they know they can be vocal and society's not going to deem them to be weak for it. Mm-hmm. Or as a man, if he's super vocal about being depressed and suffering from anxiety and all these things, typically society begins to look at them as a bit weaker, and no man wants to be viewed as weak. That's plain and simple why men don't do it. But I'm not saying you should do it. If you don't feel comfortable saying it to the people closest to you, like your boys, then go to a therapist and just talk to them. That's perfectly okay. But just make sure you're taking the actions and all your other aspects of life to do something different. Food, fitness, just taking action and trying to change the lifestyle, because obviously the current lifestyle you're in is not doing it. Mm-hmm. So yeah. Anything you got to say?
Nah, I think we touched on a lot, which is funny for a freestyled episode. Yeah. We touched on a fucking lot.
Yeah. I know. So I get carried away with the mental health stuff, because especially the fitness stuff, because I just think, yes, it is real. However, too many people allow themselves to be victims of it. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, there is a piece of reality to it, because yes, it is a real thing. However, when you let it become your identity, that's when I get angry, because I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Don't tell me you couldn't do something because you were depressed. That's not true. You're using that as an excuse because you don't want to do something. Like, you can do it. You're just telling yourself you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And you're using that as an excuse as to why you're not doing it. But you can do it. Just fucking do it. Like, that's where I start getting angry, and I'm like, fuck, bro. Like, yes, shit happens to fucking everyone. So fucking what? Are you doing what's necessary to get over it, get through it? Are you doing what's necessary to change it? No? Well, then that's your fucking fault.
Yeah.
I'm not here to feel sorry for you. Sorry. But I'm not here to feel sorry. Like, either figure it the fuck out. It's not a secret how to figure it out. I mean, we've already said a couple ways to figure it out, and that's not even every way. We're also not even experts. Experts will tell you more ways.
Yeah.
I don't think you need medication unless it's like some like crazy shit. I don't think it's necessary. I just think people allow themselves to become victims of their past, and then they accept it and then make it their identity, and then that's when shit goes downhill. And it's not until you decide to change it that things will ever change. If you're depressed today and you do nothing about changing it, well, then you're going to be depressed tomorrow. If you're anxious today about something, or you suffer from anxiety today because of something that you're seeking in the future,
Yeah.
and you don't do anything today to make yourself one step closer to that future, well, then tomorrow you're going to have the same exact anxiety. And to think anything's going to change without doing anything different is ridiculous. So get better today.
You have to make the change.
Exactly. You have to do it for yourself. No one's going to do it for you. No one's going to say the enough words. Not enough words can be expressed for you to do it until you yourself decide, no, I'm going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And once you make that decision, no, I'm going to do this, then it'll happen. Until then, you're just going to be in the same place you are today. And that's 100% your fault.
Agreed. Listen, the situation you were born into is not your fault.
But the situation you die into is 100% your fault.
Yep.
So, yeah.
That's a bar right there.
Yeah. Anyways, any last thoughts? Any
Honestly,
things you want to say?
I'm cool with closing on that note. That's a fire close right there.
But so yeah, with that being said, that was episode 29, Lost Boyz Podcast. Comment down below any points, any parts of it that you agreed with, disagreed with, reasons why. Share it. See if any other people, see what they think about it. And let us know down below what you genuinely think, whether you hate our guts or you 100% agree with it or you're 50-50 about it, any of that. Maybe say some things that if maybe you suffered and got through it, what helped you get through it? Put it down in the comments. Maybe somebody can read it and they can benefit from it. So make sure to do that. Make sure to go to the Google form. Everything's anonymous when you type it in. If there's any other topic you want to hear us talk about, type that in there. We see everything. So, we might choose it. We might not. Hopefully we do get to choose it. Try to be serious about it. Not so much
This
joke.
was a suggestion.
Yeah, this came from the Google form. Somebody suggested this, which is why we spoke about it. And make sure to subscribe. Thank you. Lost Boyz Podcast, episode 29. Peace out.
Peace.